What would you do if you couldn't fail? Well, fear of failure is a very common feeling that I work with clients. But what you might not know is that fear of success is something equally as prevalent. So just as often, I'll be talking to people who are blocking their success just as they're blocking their failure. So, do you have a fear of failure or do you have a fear of success? Either way, I want to give you a couple of ideas on how you could address one, other, or both, okay? So, fear of failure or fear of success is just a fear of the unknown. It's a fear of what will happen if. What will happen if I fail? What will happen if I succeed? Okay? And so a really common or useful tool rather is what I call the pre-mortem. Okay? We know what a post-mortem is. That's when we come and we dissect everything that happened and maybe see if there are things that we can change. But a useful tool is a pre-mortem. So what might happen? What might happen if I fail? Now, aside from the fact that I don't really subscribe to the idea of failure, I believe that there is no failure, only feedback. What feedback would we get if things didn't go the way that we had hoped? What could possibly happen? And just as we did 50 Reasons Why for the comparison-itis video, so if you haven't seen that, go back and have a look at that one. Let's try and get as many things that could happen if things didn't go according to plan. Because once we know, then we can do something about it. Then we can put contingencies in place. When it's stuck in our heads, all we do is worry. And I quite often say that worry is an indulgence. It's just an energy drain. It doesn't actually do anything to help us deal with the problem in front of us. Now, there are some arguments against that. That's fine, but for the purposes of this exercise, I want you to get that worry out onto paper and write as many reasons, as many things as you can think of what will happen if you fail. And if your fear is of success, then do the same thing. You know, what will happen if you are successful? Okay? It may mean taking you away from your family. It may mean being more visible. It may mean coming out of doing the work that you're currently doing into a different role. So get all of these reasons, these possible outcomes down on paper, because then you can start to devise contingencies for them and say, okay, well, if this happens, then I will do the next thing. It's very simple once you have the possible outcomes on paper. If that's not your jam, then there's another tool that I use, and it's 4 questions. Okay, just 4 simple questions that help you get unstuck. So if you are trying to do something and you have a fear of failure, or you're trying to do something and you suspect you might have a fear of success and it's keeping you stuck, then I want you to work through these 4 questions. Okay, number 1, what will happen if you do? So what will happen if you do the thing? Right? Okay, well, I might fail, and that means X, Y, and Z. Okay? Second question, what will happen if you don't? Okay, so if you don't do the action, if you don't give it a shot, what is going to happen? Well, things are probably going to stay the same. Okay, and there might be some other things. Number 3, what won't happen if you do? Okay, so if you embark on the goal, what's not going to happen? Okay, realistically, what's not going to happen? And then finally, number 4, what won't happen if you don't do the thing. Okay? So number 1, what will happen if you do? Number 2, what will happen if you don't? Number 3, what won't happen if you do? And number 4, what won't happen if you don't? And these are often just enough to get my clients unstuck. So give them a go and let me know how you get on. I've been Lorraine Hamilton from Coach School, and I'll see you soon.